Jian. Where is Jian? Okay, she's.
Hi,
Hi,
Table.
good afternoon. I'm here.
Is that Jian?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, I
Can you
can
hear
hear you.
me?
Good luck to pay. Yeah, so I guess we'll just do it. Okay, go on,
Okay.
please. Go on, please. Good luck to pay. Please go on. You want to say something?
Okay. So I just wanted to ask a question. It's not really related to.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, I want to ask you a question. It's not related to this part, but I wanted to ask. So how do you record um like this meeting? Like, is there a button here that you can just press that records everything? I'm asking because I actually had like a meeting with some people on Meet, and I was trying to record the old session, but I did not see any record button. So I said I would ask how you record, how you take record, so
Yeah.
the meeting is
Yeah. I
installed.
think. I think the recording feature is for. It's a
Did you
premium.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's a premium feature. That's the recording. So your Google account should be a premium account because there are levels to Google account.
Okay.
So if you're using a premium Google account,
Oh,
then you can record.
okay, that's right. That explains everything. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, boss. I was kind of waiting for us to be like 20 on this call, but since it's already okay, this is already 13 minutes. This usually have to do for like 10 minutes. So I'll just start the normal way. I'll call your name, you tell me good afternoon. I'll call your name, you tell me good afternoon. Real quick. Adejuji Timileyin. Adejuji Timileyin. Good afternoon. Adejola Samson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Ocean Shot.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Aliamin Sonimo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Ayodele Ejide. Good afternoon. Boluwatife. Boluwatife Oluwadamilola. Is it Oluwadamilola? Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I have another question about listening to the attendance first.
Okay, boss. Deborah Bello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Jean.
Hi,
It's
good
I. Good
afternoon.
afternoon. Okay.
Good
Good afternoon,
afternoon.
Kabiru. Kabiru.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I don't say Adedeji. Who is the first time I'm saying this name? I don't say Adedeji.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Winifred, my
Good
boss.
afternoon. Your
Good
boss, I beg.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Kudus Bankole. That's not kind of Good
Good afternoon.
afternoon, sir. Sherifuddin.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Solomon, scholar.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Somi. Good afternoon, boss.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Good
boss.
afternoon.
Treasure.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Wisdom. Wisdom. I wisdom. Yeah, so like I said before, today's class is going to last for like 3 hours because we have a lot of things to do, and then for like a whole week we did not have any class at all. I'm sure you guys were all enjoying yourself. no trouble from me, no checks from Thanos, because I know that okay, if we actually add classes, like 10 people in this place now would have left by now, but then we didn't have any class. Yeah, so today we'll be doing quite a lot of things today. We'll be taking Git. I think we'll start with that, how to use Git. Then we'll also take media query. That's media query in CSS. How to make your CSS, how to make your website responsive. Yeah, responsive in the sense that okay, you can view it on both your laptop and your mobile phone, and not that when you view it on your mobile phone, start looking like something else, looking scattered and all. So today we're going to try and join into how we can do that. And the project that we have at hand that I said we were going to clone, I already sent the resources. Let me
Yeah, hi.
that one,
Hi.
2,
Hi, hi.
3, Q. Nobody has downloaded all the pictures I sent. I sent like a link to a Google file that resulted on the pictures and icons. Only like 3 people downloaded it.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Yeah, I've downloaded the
hi,
bomb.
Table.
Hi.
Hello, I want to say something. Or I want to.
Okay, Bolu, please go on.
Huh? Yeah, anything.
Huh?
Okay. So you said it's download it, right?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can clearly.
Okay, so I've been trying to download it. Yes, but everything is not. I don't know. I think it's my network. But I actually have one. This bash. I have this bash on my system, like even before now. So I wanted to ask, do they work the same way or they're
If
totally
you
different?
if you can view Git bash in your system, that means you already have Git. Git bash
Can you
is yes, I can hear you clearly. Git bash is a GUI that comes with Git. So if there's Git bash in your system, that means you already installed Git.
Hello?
Yes. Did you hear me? Can anyone else hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
I did not get what you said.
Yeah, I said if you can have Git bash on your system, if you can have
I
Git
can
bash,
hear
that
you.
means that you have Git installed already. Git bash is a GUI that comes with Git, comes along with Git.
So I can use this bash instead of this.
You already have Git. You can't see Git. That's the thing. You can only like have a sense of Git from your command prompt. You can't physically see it. But Git bash is a GUI. GUI in the sense that okay, it's something that you don't need to like open your command prompt to be able to like view it. GUI means graphical user interface. So some people instead of just opening up their command prompt and then typing code, they prefer to just use a GUI instead, and that's what Git bash is. So with Git bash, instead of opening your command prompt, you can just use the GUI. But that's for lazy people, so I won't be teaching that at all. I'll be teaching Git. But if you have Git bash within your system, that means you have Git installed. So question answered, boss. Okay. Let's see. Not let's just get right into it. Okay. So what is Git? So Git is the most widely used modern version control system in the world today. It is distributed and actively maintained open source project, originally developed in 2005 by Linus Torvalds. If you're a fan of Linux operating system, you should know Linus Torvalds. He's the one that created Linux kernel. And Git is free and open sourced, and then it can be accessed by everybody without paying. So now, when you hear the name version control, so a version control is more like that's a line, it's a chain connecting your local machine and the internet together. I'm sure everybody here should be accustomed with GitHub already. So the way you upload your code on GitHub, but you have to start dragging and dropping, or you have to select and add in all the files. With version control, you don't have to go through that stress at all. In fact, with version control, if you have any change, like a while ago.
I thought you were saying. Are
Sorry?
you saying something?
No, this is just my desktop. This is just my desktop background. Can everyone see it, please? Can everyone see my desktop background?
We can. We can see your desktop.
I can't see the desktop background. I think it's on.
Yeah, I think it's a network, but try refreshing. Yeah. So version control, like I explained before, is like
I can't see it. Let me leave and come back.
if version control is like it's like a chain that connects your local machine and the internet together. That's your hosting provider. So like the former way you guys know how to do it, that your code, you have to start dragging and dropping them to GitHub. You have to start pulling everything, you drag and drop what you add. And then whenever you have, let's say, make an error or you make a mistake and then you want to change, you have to go to GitHub and then start changing the code there. So with Git as a version control, you don't have to do that. In fact, all you have to do is just edit the code on your code editor and then just push it to the internet. So if you're just starting off with Git, if you're just installing Git for the first time, you have to set up your Git username, and you have to set up your Git. Yeah, I get the username and the password, so you can connect GitHub account and Git together. So let's just get right. So if you have downloaded Git, let me hear I. Okay.
I.
Who else?
I'm sorry, is Git bash and Git GUI the same thing?
Yeah, they're both the same thing. Git bash, Git GUI, both of them are both GUIs. But I won't be using them on top. Won't be using them on top.
So what?
Hmm?
What are we going to be using?
We are going to be using our command prompts.
Okay.
Okay. Let me create the project. Yeah. Just one music. Okay. So then, 5. You guys know what's happening now. Everybody should be familiar with this already. Who's following me? Can I hear I?
I.
1. Yes, Jian.
I'm here. Hi.
Are you following?
Yes.
Oh, I think some of my G's are missing today. I've not seen Kofo. Oh, yeah, she told me her phone was bad. Where is Ejire? Ejire is not here. Is Bello Deborah here?
Yes, I'm here.
I think Bello Deborah is around. Um, I don't remember the other person. Yeah, so open up your command prompt. Let's open up your command prompt. It's control and backtick. Yeah, control backtick. Your backtick on your laptop should be the key that is close to one. Close to one. That's on the left hand side of one and on top of your tab. That's backtick. So control backtick should bring out your terminal. Or better still, you can come to the top of your VS Code, click on terminal, and then click on new terminal. For this to come out. Then you wait for it to load. Terminal is still loading. Terminal doesn't really take time to load. It depends on your system and the things that are running on it. Like one system, our system is pregnant. Yeah, and okay, terminal's finished loading. Yes. Yeah, it has. Okay. So now go back to your code editor, Chrome or whichever one you're using. Yeah. So I'm using Chrome. Then you open your GitHub. Are you guys following, please? Open your GitHub, go to profile. Then just open your GitHub profile. Then back here. So now, like I said, for you to use Git, you have to connect your Git and your GitHub together. And then for you to connect your GitHub and your Git together, you have to set up your GitHub username on your Git and then your GitHub email address. So to do that, in your code editor, you say git config. Config, that means configuration, but config, then dash, then dash global. Adding this global means that, okay, I want my GitHub username to like be everywhere. So that means every part, every code I'm going to run from now on, not just this code alone. If I open up another project, I want this to stay. So that is global. So global is me saying, okay, throughout my laptop, my Git username throughout my laptop should be this. Then after that, say user dot name. That's username. Instead of writing username, like this user dot name. Then quotation mark. And then quotation mark, and then you put in your GitHub username. So that's why I open my GitHub here. My username here for GitHub is favoring. So that's my GitHub username, favoring. You can either put this or you can put this other name, whichever one you want. But now for me, I want to use my name. That's my first name and my second name, not my username. Because I think I have another account with my username, something like that. So say ETBINOSA, IWRENOSA, and enter. Oh, I omitted. I omitted one dash in the global. Should be dash dash global. Then make it click that it's just open a new line. But then by default, the GitHub username is already this. Are you guys following, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Has anybody gotten to this step? Have you Go to this step.
No, I'm not following. No.
What's up? Error?
Yes.
What's the error?
I can't. I'm not. What did you put? Okay. It's working now. Don't worry.
Okay. Who else is following? Yesterday. Okay. I think yesterday you should have Git installed already. Yesterday you have Git working on your system already, right? Yesterday or you want it? Oh, it's you want it. You want it. You want it. I think we lost it.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I was asking if you already have
I
Git
have Git
working.
installed already, but I don't know how to connect it yet. I'm following you, but it's like you're too fast, Sha.
That's what we are doing now. Oh, sorry about that. Have you been able to add your username?
Yes, that's what I'm doing now.
You already added the username yet? Okay. Could this back on it? Please go on.
Yeah. So you said after going to the GitHub account, do I need to do anything or just look
No.
at the username and
What did you
add it
say?
to the VS Code?
Yeah. Yes, just look at the username. Just your username. That's your user. The name of the user. No, sorry, I'm talking to someone else. So you get that this Bankole. So your own should be like Kudus Bankole. You get
I used another username though
for
for the GitHub account.
oh, no problem.
Okay, I'll try it now.
Yeah. So if you brought another username, you can overwrite this by doing the same thing. So if you say git, if I say git config global username, and I change the username to Efosa, my username automatically is going to be Efosa. So every time you run this command, you are going to like override the former username. You get. So that if I want to change it to another username, I can still run this git config dash global user.name, then put another name there. Automatically, my username or Git on the laptop on my laptop is going to be the new name that I put there. Okay, so Yewande, please go on. What did you say? Solomon, go on.
I'm trying to set up
Solomon.
the Git. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can clearly.
I'm trying to set up the Git app on the laptop. Then it's asking me for use Git from Git bash only or Git from command line. Which one should I pick?
You're using command line, CMD.
Okay, command line, okay. Then use bundled open SSH and use external open SSH.
Isn't
Which
like
am
a
I
skip
to?
there or a nest?
There's no skip.
This external. Is external.
External, okay. Why is there so many questions?
Here one day, I thought you wanted to ask me something.
No, I don't intend to ask you anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now,
Okay.
after adding the username, now you have to add your email, and that's the email that is registered to your GitHub account. So now that'll be git config slash global GitHub dot email email address. Always make sure you close the quotation mark. And you can enter. Anyone else got into this part? Or is it me, please? Hello. Okay, Aya, dude, please go on.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. Who else is with me, please? Where's Jian? Jian,
Yes, I'm here.
are you following?
Yes, I am.
Deborah Bello, Aisha Toshin, are you following, please?
I have no pass, so my laptop cannot function without pass. I'm just watching you guys.
Oh, okay. Then I guess you post the video. Where's Aisha Toshin? Still on the call. Aisha Toshin, following.
Yes.
Okay. Ali Amin, where's Winifred?
I said I'm here, but I'm actually not with my system, so I'm just watching the video.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay. So after the username and the email address is up,
Hi, are people still here?
follow what's up. Follow to fair. Okay. Yeah.
Like my
So
network bouncing out. But I'm following. I didn't get to this floor. If you're still like I'm still here.
okay, boss. So okay. Lawal Ajibala, please go on.
Yeah, my network wait for I don't understand anything.
Okay. So we're trying to set up um we're trying to set up our grid credential on our laptop. Like I explained, I said Git is like a link between your local machine and the internet. That's the code that is stored on your laptop and your hosting platform. In this our case, that's GitHub. So now Git is like a connection between the both of them, a version control. So now for you to link both of them, you have to add your credentials on Git. And these credentials are the same credentials that are on your GitHub. So you are picking your name on GitHub and then your email address that you used to GitHub. Then you configure it on Git. So now to do that, you say git config dash dash global dot username, then quotation mark. You put your name inside, then close it with another quotation mark, like we did here. As for the part. And then after the name, you also do the same thing for your email. This time it's now be git config dash dash global user dot email. Then you put your email address inside. So that's what I've gotten to so far. So now I will go back to my Git. As I'll go back to my GitHub account. I want to create I want to create a new repository now. and then I'm going to name it repository name 5. Repository name is week 5, then create repository. If you create a repository for the first time, automatically they give you commands on how to link this repository to GitHub. So if you go back to your code now, I created the week 5 repo. My file name here, week 5. It doesn't matter. My file name layer can be anything. Let me change this file name so it doesn't matter. Let's say hot 5. Yeah, 5. Oh, I have to close it on GitHub. Let me close that. You don't have to close yours, so it's just mine. Okay. Please go on.
After adding my email address, it's telling me that I'm not in a Git directory. Not in a Git directory. I don't know why.
Did your name work?
Yes.
And then when you try to check the code very well, maybe there's a mistake. Review both codes and make sure that okay, the both of them they are similar.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, sure, Jane, I can hear you. So now I've added my Git username, I've added my Git email. Now I want to link both of them. Now I want to link this file. Solomon, please go on.
I hope what we are going to be doing today, everything we are going to be doing today won't be based on this Git, because I will need to rewatch this stuff again.
Not everything will be based. I'll just teach how to push code, how to edit code and everything. But then it's not something that I'll say something that you can just watch the video now, follow up with the class, and then afterwards you can watch the video again to understand it.
Okay.
Yeah. So now to do that, the first thing we have to do is let me create an HTML file. Index of HTML. H1 8. Now I want to push everything that's inside this my repo now on my laptop, this folder, and I want to push it to Git now. First thing you do, you have to first initialize Git. So how do you initialize Git? Before you can push any repository on your laptop to the internet, you have to first call Git. It's more like saying, okay, Git, I want you to be in charge of this repository. And how do you do that? You use Git init. Where is the band again? Okay, that's what I did. So when you do Git init, you're not going to see anything. You only see this thing that says initialize empty Git repository. You're not going to see anything. But now let me now show you where everything is. If you go to view on your laptop and then you click on hidden items, that's to show hidden items, you're going to see the Git folder. So the Git folder now, it's more like a clone of the folder on your laptop. Well, just that's it's a smaller size. And so this is how Git connects the laptop and the internet together. So what happened here now is Git creating his own office. Since you told Git that, okay, Git, I want you to be in charge of linking this my project to the internet by saying Git init. Immediately type Git init, Git creates an office, more like a branch. Let me just call it an office inside that your folder. So with that office, that is how Git now connects your code to the headquarter. Let's say the headquarter now is now your GitHub repo. Do you guys understand? Show you. No, yes. Okay.
Yes.
That's
Yo,
cool. Yeah, I did tell us something. Okay. So like what I did here was git init. I typed git init. More like saying you want Git to open up an office in your folder. If you go back to your folder, you are not going to see it. The only way you can see it is if you go to view and show hidden items. Because automatically your laptop hides that particular folder. Because it's not something you should touch, it's not something you can even edit, not something you should edit. If you edit it, you can destroy the whole project. So that's how your laptop hides it. So if you click on your view and then click on hidden items, you should be able to see the Git folder. So if you open the folder, there are like different things inside the folder, the path, the refs, header, hooks. But these are things that you should never even touch at all because this is for Git alone. So now Git already opened an office inside your folder. That way, it is through that office that you can now communicate with your GitHub. So let's say your GitHub is like the headquarter, and that folder, that Git folder that is inside your folder, is like the branch. So if you want to like communicate with the headquarter, if you want to take something from the headquarter or send something to the headquarter, you have to go to the branch. And then before you can go to that branch, you have to create an office. The big in it is you creating an office. Do you understand something?
yeah, I do get you.
Okay. So now, after Git init, you want to add the file. So now there are different things in Git. They are called staging. So there are different stages in Git. There is the first stage, that's like the add stage. There is the comment stage, that's like the stage before you push. So now, most of the time when you are working with Git, you can make a lot of changes and then you don't add these changes to your GitHub yet. But then you don't want a situation whereby if something happens, you're going to lose all your file. Once you just type git add, that is this git add, git add then period. That's git add full stop and you tap enter. Automatically, you already told Git that okay, these recent changes that I have made, add them. If you check the top right corner, if you check the top right corner of my editor, it has this A file on it. And if you override, you see index added. So you have added this thing up like a stage, a queuing stage. There are different stages, like I said, there's the add stage, there's the comment
Come.
stage. So are you talking to me?
I'm sorry, I didn't know my eyes was not muted.
Okay, boss. So after the add, the next stage, like I said, is commit stage. So that's git commit. And after git commit, dash M. Dash M means okay, this is the next stage that I want to commit to. Then after that dash M, git commit at M, then you now write your comment. Every commit must have a comment. So that let's say you want to review what happened the last time, or if you're working on a large project, you have different developers working on a particular branch. So you want to tell them that okay, I was the one that made this change. You add a commit message. Commit message, they should be precise, they should be correct. You should use good grammar or whichever language you and your developers understand, so that there is no misunderstanding, so that your fellow people that are working so they can understand it well, so that you yourself can even understand well. Because most of the time, you can, like me now, I have project that I worked on in 2018, project I worked on in 2019. And then sometimes I have to like review this project. If I go back to this project, how can I um, measure my progress? How can I look at all the steps that I've taken? I have to go through my commit messages. So through my commit messages, that's when I say that okay, from so time to so time, I did this. From so time to so time, I did this. So now for this now commit message, quotation mark, and I want to write okay, this is my first commit. Check top right again, you see the A that was there before has left because now it has left the add stage to the commit stage. And then the commit stage now is now like the last stage to sending it to GitHub. Okay, Samson, go on. Samson, go on, please.
Sorry, that icon, the U icon, mine is not changing to A after putting the git add.
Did you say git add full stop?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
But I
then
put a
maybe
space between my gits.
Yeah, git space
Add
space full
space full
stop.
stop. Yeah, but it's not changing.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say not everybody own changes though. Some people want to change. It sometimes depends on your VS Code because there are different VS Code. You can download the same VS Code, but then have different VS Code on different laptops depending on your laptop configuration.
Okay. So I have no problem.
You have no problem at all.
Okay.
But then after your git commit, since this project, this is the first time that we are adding git on it, you must create a git branch. So a git branch is where you're now going to start pushing all your code to. And now to create a git branch, the git branch, then name of the branch. So now, for me not to create a new, I'll say, okay, git branch. What I want to name my own branch now. On say new branch. Note that all git branches, they must all be in lowercase. Don't add an uppercase. There's no spacing. If there's going to be a space in your branch, add an underscore. So if you want to have something like okay, new branch, something like this is not allowed. It's not like new space branch. Instead, there's something like new underscore branch. You want to have old branch, I think like old underscore branch, or whichever name you want to give it. But now for my own, I want to give my own branch of main. So I say git branch main. Enter. Automatically I've created a branch. Just git branch, then the name of the branch. I'm naming mine main. Most of the time, you see naming conventions that they use mostly for branches, usually main, master, new, but you can use any name you want. Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, after that, now you now want to link the both of them together, your GitHub. So if you go back to the GitHub repo that I created, you see something like this: Git remote add origin. Then there's this link. If you notice, this link is similar to the link you guys submit for your assignment. It ends with .git. Usually at the top, you see it. So now, for you to add the online repo to your local repo, after writing all those lines of code, after adding it, after committing it, after creating a branch, you can do it in, there's no right order to this thing. You can do it in any order. So that means you can create your branch first, add the online repository link, then before you now add and commit. The only thing that must follow each other is the add. You must add before you commit. Then the git add full stop must come before your git commit -m, then the message. But now there is no default way to creating the branch or adding the remote repository. So you can Samson go on. Samson.
Sorry, how did you come up with this window on your Git page?
I just created a new repository. Once you create a new repository, it will automatically, this is the first thing you see once you create a new repository.
Okay.
Have you not submitted any assignments?
I
How
have.
did you submit all your assignments? Who did the assignment for you?
So I did it myself. I just forgot.
Then how did you not see this page? Because I submitted two
No,
assignments. Something
my
is fishy.
bad.
I'm going to go and review your assignment. Let me write your name down. Jola Samson. I'm going to go and review all your assignments.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So you can copy this thing like this and paste it in your code. Makes life easy. But then I'm going to go through the stress for people that like stress. So what you do is you come to the top here, copy. You copy this link. Then you go back. Then you go back to your code and say, okay, git put add origin. Then if you want to paste the link on VS Code, there's nothing like Control V. The Control V doesn't work. So instead, you click your right mouse. That's right mouse click to paste. Okay, enter. So I've added that. Show you. I know that part looks like magic. Show you.
Can you please come again?
Okay. So to add it,
Since I don't understand this gate stuff. I'm being sincere. I don't understand.
You don't understand everything.
Mister, I don't understand everything.
Oh wow. I don't understand something. Go on.
My VS Code was saying something like some terminals does not blah blah blah. Some key bindings don't go to the terminal by default, and I handled by the Sharp Studio Code instead. Should
Did
I
you try to
reload?
use Control V?
Yes.
I said Control V doesn't work in your terminal. Control V doesn't work in your terminal.
So I shouldn't have any problem.
You click, yes, you right mouse click.
Okay.
Like if you right mouse click, it automatically pastes. Something like that. Okay. So for the people that say they don't understand, where should I start from? Aisha Toshin. Oh, she already left. Okay.
Sorry, my network is actually bad. That's why.
Jan, go on, please.
Yes, please. Can you kind of do that place that you created the new repository and whole? Can you like copy that link again, like do that part again?
That's the last step I took.
Yes.
Okay. You know what then? Let me start from the git init again. For those people that don't understand. So first step, in fact, just if you are with a book and pen, just bring out a book and pen and just write it out. First step, initialize git. Git. Oh, yeah. One said reinitialize existing git repository because I already initialized it before. But git init, first step. Second step, we create a new branch. It's branch main. For me, I already have a branch named main already. Third step, we link our remote repository with our local repository. Remote repository means our repo on the internet. That's the one on GitHub. And then local repository means our repo on our laptop. That's the folder on your laptop. So to do that, go to GitHub, and then you copy the link. The link that actually submits for your assignment, that's the link. The ones that end with .git. You copy the full link, go back to your VS Code, and then git remote add git Remember I said it's a remote repository. That's repository on the internet, so it gets remote. And you say add. Add means okay, I want to add this remote repository to my origin. Origin means the original repository, and the original repository is on your laptop. That's the folder. So now you're adding the remote link to your original repository. So that's git remote add origin. Then you add the link. Like I said before, Control V doesn't work to paste. So instead, what you do is you click your mouse click the right side of your mouse. Mouse only have two, left and right. So you click the right side to paste. Then you enter. My own is showing error because I've added the remote origin before. But then if you have not added, you should have something like this. Then after that, you now add, that means now you now add all the changes that you have on your laptop to the branch. So you say git add stop, enter. Now we have added all the changes. Now, if you are now ready now to move to the next stage, the commit stage, you say git commit -m, then the name. This I already have the first commit. This is my new commit. Then enter. Commit has been added. So now, after that, you now want to move all your changes. That's all the changes you have made. You now want to move it to the internet. You want to move it to your remote branch. So to that says git. If you are doing it for the first time, you say git push origin. And it's the original. Then the name of the branch. What's the name of our branch here? Main. Remember when we said git branch main, when we created the main branch. So git push origin main, then enter. Since this is your first time connecting Git on your laptop, you'll be asked to log in. So now that login now it's going to ask you to put in your GitHub username and then your GitHub password. Or you can either log in your GitHub on Chrome and then sign in into your browser. Like me now, so I have this pop-up. After putting git push origin main, I have this pop-up. Because I had to like clear out all my credentials from my laptop tutorial. So after this, after git push origin main, you now sign in with your browser or sign in with the code. I want to sign in with my browser because that's easier. Okay, Solomon.
After I type that git branch main, it's showing me fatal, not a valid object name. The master.
Have you done master before?
Master, I don't even know what that is.
That means by default, there's already going to be like a branch, a master branch. Because my own over here, when I try that git branch main again, I have this fatal, a branch named main already exists. So if git branch main doesn't work, you can try git branch -m main.
Okay, git branch -m.
-m, yeah, main.
Wait, is it m then I'll now put space then main?
No, -m, no space. So that's -m for mango.
Okay, let me try that. Git.
Come on. Like, wow, don't worry, after this class, the video is going to be available because I
Wait,
spent
git branch -m.
Yes.
Then what?
Then main.
Then
That's
what?
the name of the branch. Main.
Okay, no space or anything in between.
The space. Git space
Okay.
branch space -m space main.
Okay. Okay.
That work?
It's showing me git branch M is not a git command. C git help.
What kind of that's meant to work?
Maybe you should type it out in the message how it's supposed to be. Maybe I'm writing it wrong.
Please let's continue. Then you can click on sign in into a browser. So after git push origin main, if it's your first time connecting Git on your laptop, you'll be asked to sign up. So you click on sign in with your browser and then authenticating. Go to the browser. Yep. Automatically then say, okay, authentication succeeded. You may close this tab. So you can just close the tab and then you go back. Look at this. You see, automatically everything has been pushed. So after signing in, now if I go back, yeah, and then I refresh, I already have my index.html. Look at the commit message there that I put there. This is my first commit, index.html. Who's following this? Who already have this? Let me set up GitHub pages.
Mine is not allowing me to click on the authorize icon.
I don't understand. Do you have your GitHub logged in?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then which part is not allowing you to click?
Is when I loaded the signing this thing, it was telling me these credentials by blah 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 wants to access your account. But
Then you
when I
say
want to try to
authorize.
click the authorize, it's not clicking, it's not giving me the option.
That's from your
I don't
laptop.
know why.
That's from your laptop course. Maybe you can wait, Jayan, are you following?
Okay, it's working.
Okay now. Yeah, so I forgot to tell you, for you to push your GitHub, that's for that Git push origin main to work. Your laptop must be connected to the internet. Jian is missing. Jian, where did you stop at? It looks like craft the only Git you go run. Jian, talk. Where are you at? Where's Jian? Can anyone hear me, please?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Deborah Bello. Oh,
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, hear you.
Winifred,
Yes, I can hear you.
where are you at? Are you following?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I'm following.
Have you guys gotten to where I am at now? Have you been able to push what you have on your laptop to the internet?
I won't take that.
I mean, they say
Can't
that
remember my password.
yes, I'm here.
It's not allowed doing it. You know, getting the better place to be.
Okay.
It just cost punching car. No, I'm not scaring you now.
I
You
understand.
just
It's true. I don't do that. I just should be like, I don't want. I prefer that.
no, you just need the better place.
I
And where their service is good.
500.
How many times Lali Villa?
Eh?
How?
Oh, it's better,
No.
like I showed you. And again, I wish to say
Okay, if you look at image 2 and image 3, they are the same page, but I'm saying that.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still here. Trying to like think of how I can like make this thing very simple.
I can. Okay.
Okay, I'm back for my breathing exercise. Please, can you explain that pushing linking on mix or is it main branch? I don't understand that. I need to I did tell her something. Go on. Okay. um, let's go back again. First thing first. First thing first. Please, nobody should raise up hand like this already. So, first thing first. You initialize Git. Git. After that, you create the branch. It's branch. Or some people laptop usually have issues. You can say git branch dash m main. Note that main is just the name of my branch. The main can be anything, any name you want. So now my own, I'm using git branch name. Then after that, you link your remote repository. Sorry, remote in the sense that okay, remote is online, my online repository. Like whenever you hear remote job, that means it's online. You don't have to be there in person. So your remote repository is your GitHub repository. That's that repository online. You link it to your original repository, and then your original repository is your folder. The folder you created can be Big 5, can be Alt 5, can be FOSA, whichever name you give the folder. So now to link that, you say git remote. I mean, okay, we are linking it with the remote repository. Git remote add origin. Then you put link, the link of the GitHub repository that is online. Like whenever you guys need to submit your assignment, you guys will click code and then you copy this link. So this is the link to commit to connect. So you copy the link, then you go to VS Code and then you paste it here. Then you click enter. My own is showing all this error because I have created it before. If you have not created it, you won't see all these errors. So now, after the git remote add origin, after adding that, you now create your, push your changes. Let me sorry, give me a minute, please. I already have git pages, I think. Let me refresh that. Yeah, I have GitHub pages. Okay, so I have this is my first. Because if I go to my GitHub now, let me go live. Yeah, so you can see I have the same thing, but then this one is coming from GitHub. Why this one is coming from my local computer? That's my live server. So now I want to change it now. Let me say this is a Git test flag. I want to add a p tag. It says this is the now, for me now to add this new change now to my GitHub profile, because if you check this out, only my local server, my live server, that have this is the next test. GitHub doesn't. So now I want it now to show to GitHub. I want all my recent changes now to be on GitHub. What I'll do now is go back to my code editor, come to my terminal and say git add stop. That means I told git, okay, take this my new change to the next step. So that is I forgot git branch. Okay, after that, git remote add or if I'm putting myself, I'm just trying to put it in the chat. So that's git remote add origin, then the link. Then after that, git add. That's the first stage. That's take your changes to the first stage. Then to now move it to the next stage, that's the commit stage. You say git commit -m and the commit message. What's my commit message now? This is the second. So now after the commit has finished, after the commit is done, I now want to now push this my new change to the repo that I already linked. So what I would say is git push origin main. If you look at this, after the git, which is like a default name, git push means send. So now I'm sending my new changes to where the origin main Here is my origin main. Origin main is not on your laptop, but on your repository. Because if I come back here now, at the top here now, the name here is what main. So I'm pushing this to origin main. So git push origin main. Enter. If you did not if this is your first time, sorry, if this is your first time adding using Git on your laptop, it's going to ask you to sign in when you run this Git push origin main. It's going to ask you to like link your GitHub to Git. So there's this little pop-up that comes on where you can just click on okay, sign in with my browser. Once you click on sign in with my browser, it's going to ask you that do you want to authorize Git to access GitHub? You click on authorize, and then if you click on authorize, just links both of them, adds them to your origin. And if I go back to my GitHub and then I refresh, okay, my new commit is not here yet. Just okay. Yeah, Billy GD, what's the GitHub manager showing?
It's just showing authorized Git credential manager, and I'm trying to click on it. It's not authorizing.
The internet connection working.
Yes, it's not authorizing. It's just saying authorizing will direct you to one local host like that.
Yeah, you should take it to the local host and then just leave it for it to like run.
Okay, let me leave it then.
Yeah, it's like it should be loading.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, it should load. Okay, this is something. Please go on.
When I try to commit the response I'm getting is on branch master, nothing to commit, working trickling.
Yes, if you don't have any, if there are no new changes, it will tell you that. So Git smart enough to check if you have new changes on your PC. So if you don't have new changes, it's going to tell you, okay, your working tree is clean. That means there's nothing new for Git to receive, or GitHub to receive, sorry. Okay, Kudus, please go on.
Yeah, so when I push, as in the last thing you said we should do, that's probably linking it. So when I wanted to link it, I forgot my password for the GitHub, so I had to reset the password. So after resetting the password, it just logged in without telling me about any authorization or anything. Is it okay, or do I need to do the process again?
No, that's okay.
Okay. So how will I confirm if it has been authorized or not?
So now, if it has been authorized, that means all your changes should push. So now you go back to GitHub and then you refresh your GitHub page. See if the new change that you have here, if it's what's on your laptop.
Okay.
Oh, wow, I'm having problem with my own Git. I guess because of the number of times that I initialized. Yep, corrected it already. Let me just let me delete this repository then start over again from the beginning. Okay, so new folder and put it and repository. Okay. Let's close it. With the new folder. Folder. Yep. Yeah, we should. Are you guys still with me? Those guys that did not understand before. Yeah, made me corrupt the git trade. I had to delete it and then start over again. So you guys should please focus now. Please focus now. Where's Jehan? Is Jehan still here? Jehan, where's Jehan? Kofo, welcome, Kofo. I missed you. I've been shouting your name since.
I am trying to understand what that's on this camp. Yes, I'm trying to understand what you're doing, but it seems like you want to start again.
Yes, I want to start again. But not from the beginning. Okay, maybe I'll think of. Okay, I'll start from the beginning again. Thank God, I beg.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to create index of this HTML file. Because I have to like take this particular one real quick. Everything I said we're going to do today. I spent over 1 hour already. Okay, H1. Hello. If I go live. Okay, you can see. Hello, Efusa. Show you up to this point. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
Jehan.
Yes.
Deborah Bello. Oh, I think you said you had. Then now. So let me delete my Git credentials.
Sorry,
again.
I can't see the screen again.
Oh, who can see my screen?
You cannot see it. Though.
I cannot see it.
Everybody cannot see my screen.
I can actually see your screen.
I can see your
I can see your screen.
screen.
Winifred, I think you should refresh. If you can't see my screen, just try refreshing. I'm zoomed in now so everybody can see. So if this is your first time using Git, first thing you have to do is configure your GitHub name and your GitHub email on your laptop. So to do that, git config -- global then user dot name name, enter. After that, you have to configure your GitHub email, like I said. So that's git config dash global user dot email. So that's like the beginning for using Git. I'll just configure those two things. So now, after configuring these two things, now we have like now after using GitHub inside this our we now start using Git, sorry, inside our folder. So first thing you have to do is you call up Git. Before you came, I explained what calling up Git is. So calling up Git is like setting up an office on your laptop that connects both your local machine, that is the code on your laptop, to GitHub. So GitHub is like the headquarter, and Git is like the branch that's going to help you send your code and then fetch your code from the headquarter. Because you can do more than just sending your code to GitHub. You can also get code from GitHub. So after that, then next thing, Git as to initialize Git init. First step, you see this message, initialize empty Git repository in that. This is your folder part over here. So after that, we create a new branch. So our new branch, Git branch, whatever name you want to use. You can use your name, you can use anything. But then I love using main. So Git branch main. Not a valid object name, master. And then Git branch dash m main. Okay. Instead of Git branch main, you can use Git branch dash m main. That also works. So I've created a new branch called main. So now, after creating the new branch, I now want to link the GitHub repo to this particular folder. I want to link my GitHub repository to this folder on my laptop. That is to add to link that up. Git remote add origin. And the link, to get the link that you're going to use, you come back to your GitHub, and then this is the link here. The link I usually submit for your assignments. That's the link. Then you go back and then you paste. For you to paste on terminals don't accept Control V. Terminals, they don't know what Control C is, they don't know what Control V is. In fact, Control C is to kill a terminal. So what you do instead is you right click, mouse right click to copy. So after right clicking that link, then I tap enter. I've added that already. So now, since I already linked my local folder to my GitHub repository, now it's time for me now to push my code. So I want to see what I'm seeing on my local folder. That is this. I now want to see this code now on my GitHub repository. How do I do that? I say git add. Good stuff. Git add is like the first stage. There are different stages for you to push your code to GitHub. There are two stages: the git add and then the git commit. Git commit is the final stage. Whenever I say git add, you just stage it like a stage one staging until you can continue writing more code. And then you can just type another git add again to stage. So this way, you're saying, okay, my codes are not ready to be pushed to GitHub, but then I want to save them in Git. So let's now say by mistake you make some error, and then you can't get back everything from your local computer, you can just fetch it with Git and this is it. Git pull add, yeah. Like Git pull add, you can now fetch the last change that you added, but now you have not pushed it to the internet yet. So now I want to push this onto the internet now. So I want to take it from stage 1 to stage 2. So that is Git commit -m. Then you must add the commit message. Commit message so that you can keep track of your progress, and so that if there are other developers working on it, they can see what you made, what you did. So if you were, let's say you were giving the nav bar to do now, and you say, okay, Kofo, you have to make the nav bar. Jian, you have to make the hero section. Aliamin, you have to make the footer section. So when it's not time for you to now, push your codes to the internet, you have to push it now with a commit message saying, okay, I've done my part. So that for it to then you say git commit -m, then the message. What's this one now? My own message now is this is my first commit. And you have this say, okay, one file changed, 14 insertions, then it creates mode, then you are giving a this name here. There's a commit code over here, and then you don't use it at all. But now this is the message. This is my first commit. So now after that, how do you push your code now to GitHub? What we have done now is we have moved our code from the first stage to the second stage. So now how can I now push it to GitHub now? You say git push. If this is your first time that you're pushing, you have to use git push origin, then the name of the branch. What's the name of our branch here? Main. Because you said git branch main, we created main. So now that's git push origin main data. You must be connected to the internet, don't forget. And now I have this pop-up here because this is the first time I am connecting Git to my laptop. So now I have to sign up to my GitHub so that my Git can access GitHub. What I do now is click sign in with your browser. Then if you check your browser, you have this localhost thing here. Loading. It doesn't load, refresh. That's not working now. I'm sure Git's ready and do it because I've deleted it like 2 times today. Let me cancel this and just go back and okay. Okay, I think mine already added by default. So now if I refresh, yeah, as you can see, index.html, the message is there already. If you look at this code over here, it's the same code over, where's that part? Other my commits, yeah, this same code, FFC 9097. You go back to GitHub and check this code here. It's FFC 9097. So now this code, now if you click on it, it's going to show you every commit that you made, the changes you made underneath each code. So now this one, now what did I do now? This is the first time I'm adding. These are the number of files I added. You see that it said 14. If you check, I said 14 insertions. That means 14 lines of code were inserted. And then if you check here, how many lines of code do I have here? 1 to 14. So now before I do the normal thing that everybody does, I just GitHub pages now. Yeah, but I don't know if you guys noticed. I already fixed the issue that I always had with my GitHub page. Yay! Now I can use GitHub page. Okay. Still loading GitHub page. GitHub page is not like yet. Why GitHub is taking time to come up again? GitHub one new game. Oh, good. Pages. The GitHub page is currently being built. Oh God, it's still being built. They are not even done building it yet. Okay, in progress. No. Okay, active. That's done. So you can see, yeah, LF, sir. Look at the link here. This is my GitHub link. This is my live link. That's the live server. So now the main, that's the main sweet thing for GitHub is mainly for changing of code. Let's say you made an error somewhere and you want to change your code. Instead of doing the whole drag and drop over again where you have to delete. With Git, you don't have to do that. Instead, you just have to just make the change, you add, you commit, and you push. So you can say, okay, let's want to add this and say, okay, what's on? This is a new change. So now, how do I stage it? I want to take it to the next step. Git add. That's first step. After git add, git commit dash m new commit. It is saying what again? One insertion. That means I started just one line. That means the file that's going to be changed, unlike the way you usually do before, that you have to now delete all the codes that you have in your folder and then upload everything again. Instead, with some Git, you can just change the line that is faulty. So the part of your code that has issue, you can just change that part. And so whenever you're pushing now, you're not pushing your total code again. No. What you're just pushing is a change. You're just pushing a change to the particular parts that have issues. So let's now say you have like 500 HTML files, and only one HTML file have issue. And then that one HTML file is on like line 400. Once you change that line 400 and you say, and you do this git add, git commit, and then git push, you're not going to push the whole 500 code again. Instead, what you're pushing is the one line of code in that line 400 in that one HTML file. So no change will be made to the other 499 HTML files, only the one HTML file. And then not even all the code in that one HTML file is going to change. Only that line of 400 that you changed. So now you see the sweet thing. Before Git came into play, whenever you make an error in one HTML file like that, you may likely not change the whole 499, but you have to delete the whole that one HTML file.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's better.
Yeah, I had network issue. Sorry. Yeah, I'm back. See, you only make that change to just that one line. So now you see this is the new line that I just added. And then if I say git push, let's just set up this so git push. After we set up this thing now, the next time you don't have to use original git push setup main, you just type git push automatically to just push a new change. So git set string origin. You can see I have everything. And if I go back to my GitHub and then I refresh, you see, commit message has changed to commit. The code over here has changed. I can see two commits here because I made two commits. So now if I click on this one now to see the change that I made, you see it's only highlighting line 12 Okay, this is where you added something. It's not highlighting every other thing because no change was made to every other part of the code. Only that line 12. And if I check here now, where did I add that new thing? Line 12. Line 12 is where I added the new thing. So now the only place that there was a change was just line 12. So if I refresh now, I can see the new change now. This is my GitHub page. So now imagine like you now have other multiple files. With Git, you can make all those changes. You can make different changes without having to worry about the stress of uploading everything again. So now, what if you make a change on GitHub and then you want it to show on your local computer? Like let me add the README file now. This is the best. Oh yeah, still not able to click. A minute, please. I have to patch this guy for it to work. Let's try this at home. Are you sending it? I'm sending it. Yeah. I already have this now. If I come back here now and I say it's us, tell me that my branch is clean and everything. But now there's a difference between what I have here and what I have on this. Because if you check what I have here now on GitHub, there's a readme file. But on my local computer, there's no readme file. So what you can do now is you can git pull. So you can say git pull. You know, before to send something to the repository, we use git push. Now to get something is git pull. So git pull. You can see this now. On my local computer now, I have the readme file. Show you.
Oh yeah.
So do you guys like
Yes,
understand how do you guys understand how Git works now? Where's Jian? Jian, do you understand?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Still lost?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Fofoworola.
I'm kind of lost in some parts. I don't want to drag everybody back. So I'll probably ask somebody later. But I
I
understand some parts.
already told you guys before. There is nothing like dragging
No,
anybody
because you
back.
like started again from beginning. I didn't want you to like still be going back. That's why I didn't ask my question.
I don't mind teaching only Git today. Because I won't lie to you, if you check YouTube, you will see like an 11-hour course on just Git alone. Some people it can even take some people like a month. Like me now, I should not lie, I should not cap. It took me like a week to learn how to use Git. And that's because, okay, I'd say the tutorial that I watched and everything, it was an Indian tutorial, and then you know the way this guy talk. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we will be. So I did not really get things like that. I just had to like manage, and then I started reading docs for me to understand after a week. So it's fine if you don't understand now. Just let me know. I don't mind. I'm going to recap. Tell me where you don't understand. I will explain again. If let's say the scenario I used before is not working with you, then I'll use another scenario. Yeah. So Lawa, you say you're lost. Where are you lost, boss? Let us find you. Everywhere, like from the
I
beginning.
don't understand it. From the beginning, I don't understand it.
Are you on your laptop? Are you on your laptop?
I'm on my laptop.
Are you following at all? Do you follow everything I did?
I said everything. I did my I was able to log in. So from there, I don't understand everything again.
From which part? Where did you stop? From is it from the username and email?
Yes, username and email. I was able to log in.
I did not get the git init part, the git add.
Yes, I know when I said I just add, this commit, this push. I know I said everything.
Today is Wednesday. No, today is Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. Okay. Let's maybe today we'll just iron out the git issues. Okay, go on.
Okay, I wanted to ask you when you did that Gmail something. I wanted to ask if it was like the same. I know it's supposed to be the same Gmail you used to register your GitHub, but the name does it have to like be the same name, or it has to be like your username or the same name you use for that GitHub, or it doesn't matter.
The name doesn't matter. You can use your nickname. You can use only your first name. You can use your first name and your last name. The name doesn't matter. What matters the most is the Gmail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then again, I wanted to use you when you were explaining that how to push to
Okay.
um to GitHub. I think I did not understand some part because I don't even know because I was trying to like follow you as you're doing it, but if I go try to do it, I'm going to miss some parts that you're doing. So I didn't like as you are typing some of these things. Is it that it comes automatically or you have to type everything yourself?
No, I'm typing everything.
Plus this forward like hyphen you typed everything.
But it's all these things that start coming up, like things like this.
Like I know some of them came up with themselves, but when you're like doing that Git add, no, from that Git init to initialize Git, you know there was some part that was having hyphen. So I wanted to know if you like typed all those things or it just comes out.
No, I typed all this. That's the hyphen at the dash. I typed them myself.
Yeah,
I typed them.
not
Yeah, I typed
only in
them.
this part, the rest too, you type them.
Yes, I did. Like this one here.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
So the set upstream, you type it yourself.
Yes, I did.
And now I'm
When it comes
confused.
to so when it comes to your command line, there's no auto assist for command line. You have to type everything yourself. So now, the first time I did after my git remote git commit my first commit. I did git push here. Let me try. There's a git push here. I think it left after. So I did git push origin main. I said git push origin, then the name of the branch main. So after that, all this thing came up that okay, my new branch and everything has been pushed. And then after that, I made a new change. So after the new change, and I said, okay, git add, then the new commit for the new change was git commit and then new commit. Then I tried to use git push. Then git told me that okay, the current branch has no upstream branch. So to push to current upstream branch and set the remote as upstream, that I have to use this command to set upstream. You only set upstream once. So once you set upstream, the next time when you want to like make any change, you don't have to type any long thing. You just have to type only git push after setting upstream. So what I did was set upstream to main. To git push, set upstream, origin main. Then after that, I was now able to, I can now like use my git push and everything. So now let me clear this out. And then let me make a change to this. Let me remove, let me change the stubborn to good. Stubborn to good. First thing, git add. After that, git commit. Okay, you have to add a commit message dash m. What's my commit message? Changed stubborn. Oh, good. Please go on.
Okay. I'm so sorry. You used your the name of your repository was hyphen m then main. So why are you not using just the first letter?
Name of my okay. So now the dash M is for
Mm-hmm.
creating a new branch. So when you want to create a new branch in Git, there are two ways: Git branch and the name of the branch. Okay? This is creating a new branch, or you can take Git branch dash M main. So sometimes Git branch main works. Sometimes you get to see an error that okay, you cannot accept Git branch main. So you have to now use git branch dash m main. But now the name of your repository is always the last. That's main. That's the name of the branch. So not the name of the repository. The name of the branch is main, not the dash m. So dash m is used for creating a new branch.
Okay, thank you.
Now after my commit now, I've done the first stage, git add, adding the commit, git commit dash m. So now I want to now send this thing over. Since because of I already set up my upstream, I can now do git. I didn't see. It's already sent the new change now to GitHub. So if I check now and then I refresh, you see the commit message here is changed stubborn to good. So if I check, if I refresh this, new change is not there yet. I think it's still building. Yeah. GitHub page still. Go. Calm down. This is taking time. Why is it taking time to build? Yeah, I said it. Taking time to build. Waiting. In progress. Okay. Sometimes GitHub pages takes time. Still in progress. Okay, active. Now if I refresh, the new change is there already. Okufo, do you understand?
Yes, I understand. But one more question, sorry.
You can
Now
ask
I'm
two
trying.
more.
Okay, I'm trying to like do the like configure the my Git right now, but it is blank. Do I have to start with the Git config before everything will set in?
Yes, of course. Because you have to set the username. You have to set your username and the user email first. Then after that, you can have the rest. Now, I still don't understand anything yet.
Yes, sir. I think I understand some thoughts, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
But Kabiru, please go on.
I'm trying to do this git push original, but the error message I'm getting is failed to push some refs to the link I put it.
For the what?
Like failed to push some refs to the HTTP editor to.
So did you git add first?
Yes.
And then you added the commit message.
No. I not click on it.
No, if you git add without adding a git commit, you can't push. Like I told you before, you can push to GitHub. You must follow the two stages. Stage one, you git add. Stage two, you git commit. Then you can push.
Thank you, sir.
Jian, show you.
Yes.
Well, wow, I think we'll just wait, then I give you the video. So maybe watch through the videos again, see if you can understand. And if you still don't understand, maybe we can recap tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is Saturday, and I was busy there every week. But we'll see. We'll just catch up later. Or maybe I can like refer you to like online tutorials. Okay, Lawal, go on. Or is it Lawal that's asking? Is it Solomon? Solomon, go on.
Yeah. And can we get this video immediately after the class?
Immediately, like I told you, it takes time for Google Meet to send the videos because I don't know what they are doing, Sha. But then I think they are usually work on the video, and then depends on the video size. Like this one, it's already over 2 hours, and they may likely end in like 3 hours. And so for a 3 hours video, that should be worth like 600 and something MB. So it's going to take time for them to like, process the whole video and all. But then by midnight, Jan, please remind me if you're still awake. Please remind me by midnight to send the video link.
Okay.
Is Jan here? Okay. I'm so tired right now. I'm out of breath already. But then, okay, go on, please.
Okay. How do I know that I'm on track when I do the configuration? Am I supposed to say any sign? Or it's just going to be the same thing? Do you get my question?
Yeah. You won't know. It's just open to the next line. But if it doesn't work, it's going to show an error.
Okay.
Guys, you need to much to get back. The reason why France not to back after that to play the next guy.
Okay, Deborah, please go on.
Yes, I wanted to ask, all these changes that we're making, the commitment and that, is it possible that we should like finish typing our project, finish typing what we want to in HTML, then convert it to the Git? Or it has to be step by step, like when you commit a new change, when you write a new statement, you convert it to Git immediately. Is there a way that you do all you have to do first? Then when you are done, you now commit it?
That question, I don't understand it at all. Please, can you recap?
I said that like when we, like our HTML file, when we are done with it, like after we are finished doing all what we need to do in the file, is there a way to commit it immediately like that? Or is when we write a new statement or when we do a new project?
Okay, so
like when we write a new statement, we now convert it immediately.
I still don't understand this question. Are you converting to HTML? What are you converting to HTML?
So like the way you are doing it step by step. Like the way that you do everything at once in HTML, then you go to Git, then you push it immediately, like everything at once. Or you have to be doing it like step by step.
No. Okay, yeah, you can work on your project for like a week without pushing it to Git, without doing a Git add or the Git commit. It just depends on when you want to do it. So you can make multiple changes, you can create new files, no problem, you don't have to push it immediately. When you are ready to post it, Then you just say git add, git commit. So it's not must to do it step by step.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Solomon. Solomon, sorry, raise your hand.
No, mistake.
Okay. If that be all, I don't want us to like waste this last 1 hour, and so I want us to like go through media query. So media query is the I say the most important, one of the most important parts of front-end web development. There are a lot of people out there that usually shout I'm a front-end developer, but then their site lack responsiveness. So what's responsiveness? Responsiveness is the ability of your site to look neat and okay on different viewports. That means if I view your site on an iPhone 13 Pro Max, it should look okay. If I view it on iPhone 5, it should look okay. If I view it on my TV, it should look okay. If I view it on my laptop, it should look okay. If I view it on my monitor, it should look okay. Many times you see a lot of websites that are not responsive at all. Some websites you see that okay, they are looking okay on laptop, but they're not looking okay on mobile screen. I would say that is a sign of a failed front-end developer. But as a front-end developer, you don't only consider one viewport, you consider every viewport that there is. So now let me open up a site. Okay. Oh, good. Internet connection is so slow. MTN. So I'm sure you guys should be familiar with these images. If you're not familiar with this image, just leave this call ASAP. Have any of you seen this image before?
Yes.
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 If I just hear no like this, just remove your sharps. So this is what I said we are going to build. Which part are we doing? Did I send this image? I think I did.
Yes.
Did I send this image? I did. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I sent this ones too.
No. You
Who
didn't
said
send
no?
this one.
Me, you didn't send this one.
This one's
You sent everything.
Okay, I did not send that part.
Good.
Okay, I did not send this part. That means we're stopping here. So now you can see this site now. If I inspect it, that's my monitor screen. And so if I say this is you can see the name here, next or Max. If I take it to Galaxy 9, you see the site still looks okay on Galaxy 9. If I take it to iPhone SE, still looks okay. If I take it to iPad, still looks okay. Not checking. If I take it to iPad Pro, still looks okay. Not checking. So now this is responsiveness, the ability of the site to look okay on every viewport. Most of the time, you see a lot of sites that are not responsive. Once you just bring it down like this, boom, the wall of Jericho is going to fall down flat. Nothing here, just on scattered pieces up and down. Okay, go on, Solomon.
Is it in inspect that you're able to change the dimension of the website?
Yes, in inspect. So now, the only way you can check if your website is responsive on your laptop is you have to go to inspect. Inspect, they give you these different devices viewports to check for. So if your website can work here, you should work well. But then sometimes you can see some really crazy phone browsers that it's not going to work on. The phone is not going to work well on it. Know that it is not your fault. It is the fault of the browser. So browsers, they are out of date and they are just mad. So they're just frustrating. So now, we won't be building this today. Because like this, I don't think I have the inspiration, the wide inspiration to build this. What I'll just do now is teach responsiveness. Because as I'm teaching this, will be working on the responsive side as I'm working on this. The only part I know we won't be building is the nav bar. Because we won't be building this nav bar until at least, yes, media queries ability of the site to be responsive on different devices. Yes. So we won't be building this nav bar because we will need JavaScript to build the nav bar. So like make it something like this where you click and then it comes down, then you click, goes up, comes down, goes up. So we need JavaScript to do that. And so we won't be taking the nav bar until JavaScript. And JavaScript should be like 2 weeks from now, I guess. Yeah. Because I won't be going so in-depth JavaScript. I'll just show you DOM manipulation. That's like the light part of JavaScript, and then the part of JavaScript that concerns front end. Okay, so moving on. Bring this out. Where's my local host? I'll be using this guy so we can push whatever we're doing to GitHub and see how it's going to look. Let's close your. Okay, so now I want to create a CSS so that with style box CSS, and then adding it to the head. So that's link CSS. Charge CSS. So now I want to add a div. Let me name this model. Model. Inside my model, I want to have 4 boxes. Yeah, 4. So that'll be div, child times 4. Okay. So if I split this to the right, close this up. Okay. Styling. Okay. Arrow. Adding. Arrow. Everything. Box. So if I view this, I have nothing, correct? So now let me go back now. First thing I'm telling for is my model. I want to set a background color and want to hashtag 333. That's like, yeah. I know. I want to give it a width of 100%. The height of the 100 page. I want the height to cover my whole screen. So yeah, I should have this. Then now, for my child, that's the box. I'm saying dot mother dot child. If each one of them, the width of since they are for 22%, because I want each child component to take 22% of the mother component. And then height, let's say height of 300 pixels. Background color of that coverage. If I take this now, yeah, they are all here. But now, remember I said HTML is block on block. That's why they are all like this. So now, if I want to take them, so I want them to be like arranged vertically. What do I do? Jehan, where's Jehan? Jian, are you avoiding question and answer? Okay. Kofoworola. Where's Kofo?
Yes, can I help you?
Yes, you can help
Can
me,
I help
Kofo.
you?
So I'm kind of lost here. I have 4 boxes. They have the same color. But now I don't want them to be like this. I want them to
Okay.
be side by side, and then I want them to be space. So now what do I use?
You flex direction should be row. Wait, yes. Wait, did you even use flex in the beginning?
Do I just
You
use
first do
flex
display
direction like that?
flex.
And where am I doing my display flex?
No, that's what I'm saying, that we didn't use flex in the beginning. So you say display flex,
Okay,
flex,
underneath me,
then
am I doing my
flex
display flex? Did I
direction
just write
should be
display flex
row.
here? I just write it here.
Then
Did I just write it
no,
here?
no, sorry.
Display.
You're supposed to be, since you want it for the mother
Okay.
child.
So
No. Put it under the mother child. I mean mother.child.
okay. So I'm doing it in mother.child.
It's going to be under the mother.child. Mother.child.
Under the mother.
Yes. Wait, same thing. No. Wait, Jill. Don't confuse.
Okay.
You want to make everything.
Obviously, because all of you that are on top of that table, you guys are going to prove how you got to the top of that table. No, I'm going to call names. Okay? I will call names.
It's going to be in the container.
Is where?
Sorry, it's going to be the container.
Okay, so the container is here.
Carrying everything.
Okay. So what's the name of the container?
The mother. So that's where the display flex will be. That's where you're going to the display mother.
Kofo is breaking up. Kofoworola.
Dot mother.
Okay.
Dot
So what am I
mother.
doing by dot mother?
Dot. Mother. Display, then flex.
Yes, it is. Okay. So after display flex,
then flex direction. Row. ROW.
Okay. This is how we do. I said I wanted space.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about. Let's put space between.
Okay.
What is just wait? Justify content. Space between. And if that does not work, okay. Will it work?
Okay,
Yes.
God save you. Where's Solomon?
Hello. Yes.
So now Solomon, I have 4 boxes. Kofo already said I should use display flex justify content. So now, if I reduce my screen now, and I want these boxes now to drop on the next line, what's the flex property for that?
Flex wrap.
Flex wrap. Where am I doing it?
Flex is, you're going to do it in the mother container.
Okay. So what am I doing?
Flex wrap. Then wrap.
Okay. That's all for now. I'm still coming back to you. Where is Jehan? Jehan should better talk. Unless I'm going to subtract 10 points. You mute yourself, I'll subtract 10 points. Take you from number 3 straight to like number 14. Yeah, so now if I view this now on different screen sizes. Let me view it on iPad mini. You can see now it's not looking as good as it's looking on this kind of laptop now. This is a laptop screen and look at how it's looking. And then if I view it on like Pixel 5, look at how it's looking. So on this Pixel 5 now, the number of boxes on the row is not meant to be up to 4. Instead, it's meant to be like 1. So instead now, how can you now do this kind of thing now? This is where media query comes in. So now, for you to call media query, you have something like at media screen. Okay, now say and now after this and what you now call now is you have a bracket. Inside this bracket now, you call the condition. So now there's a condition now. There are 2 ways. What are you working with? Are you working with max height or are you working with mean height? So now, if I change this now, I want to change the width here to like 600 pixels. That's 600 pixels. 600 pixels is looking like this. But now, I'm 600 pixels. I don't want it to be 3. I don't want it to be 4. I want it to be 3 on 600 pixels. But now, 600 pixels now is not like my max width. So what I'm trying to say now is from 600 pixels downward, I want there to be only 3 boxes on each row. For me to have that, I would say, okay, since I take from 600 pixels down, max, and I say max width. My max width is what? 600 pixels. So most of the time, like I said before, I once said it at the beginning when I was introducing CSS. I said when you start writing CSS, you start doing mathematical calculations in CSS, you start writing functions in CSS. This is a function now with CSS. And it's something that for now, you may not know like the definition of functions until you enter JavaScript and then you start seeing multiple functions. But now this is a function in JavaScript. I first called media screen saying, okay, it's media query I want to write. And I want my media screen to work with what? My max height of 600 pixels. So now if I want this my chain to happen to 600 pixels above, what am I going to use? Jehan, where's Jehan? Jehan, unmute yourself. Okay. Is Ali Amin? Can Ali Amin hear me? So suddenly now nobody's hearing me again. Now wow. If you can hear me, say I.
I can
Hi.
hear you.
I can hear
My
you.
own screen has been freezing since.
Sorry, boss. I guess network. Yeah, I think Adejala something can hear me. Yeah. So something. If max width of 600 pixels is only going to affect 600 pixels and below. So if I want to do it for above 600 pixels, what am I going to use instead?
I'm sorry, your question again.
Sir?
Your question, please repeat your question again.
Okay.
Mean width.
Who said that? Who said mean width? Someone said mean width just now. Who said mean width?
I'm the one.
Okay. I can see that you are smart. So I'll ask the next 5 questions I'm going to ask. I'm going to answer everything. So don't even mute yourself. Just unmute yourself like that. But Samson, someone has taken your cross. Tell her thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now,
is it me?
So now if we want to work with above, you have see boss, you don't already carry in cross, no vex. Don't mute yourself. Just stay unmuted like that. I'm going to answer my next 5 questions. So now I want this thing now to be in I want there to be only 3 boxes. And then if you were here in my last class, I said something about boxes, flex wrap, and the width of boxes. I said, okay, because this thing is 100%, for me to now use flex wrap to put 4 here, I have to use a width of 22%, because 22 times 4 is 88. And so that means since my width is 100%, it can take 88.
Yes.
So now, Bolatife, in my max width of 600 pixels, I want there to be only 3 boxes on one row. So now what's going to be the width of my child component now?
25%.
25%.
Or more than.
If you say 25%, 25 times 4 is 100.
Or
It will still,
more. I don't know.
no, give me, this is
That's
not,
100.
the
Yeah,
question is not,
that's why I said more. Okay, we could have like,
you know what? Bolatife, don't bother. Someone else has picked your cross. Ayodele Ejide, please unmute your mic. Let me hear you.
Yes.
Ayodele
I'm with
Ejide.
you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Bolu, tell him thank you. But mother,
thank you.
your width now is 38%.
I divided 100 by 3 now.
You divided 100 by 3. I was asking
Which
her the
gives...
question. You answered the question. So you take the cross. So now you see now we already have one box now coming down.
Yes, yes.
So now Ayodele Ejide.
Yes.
Can you now tell me why this particular component is down like this and why there's this much space?
Please take it back to the coding.
The code. Okay.
Okay. I think flex wrap or something like that.
Flex wrap. So if I come down and say, okay, but mother.
Yes.
And I say flex wrap.
Yes.
Of none.
Still. Okay.
First, there's not like none, there's no wrap.
Yes, yes.
It's not I get. Is this what we want?
Okay, you said you should come closer, right?
I said, why is there much space between them?
In between the rows.
Yes, in between the rows. Why is there much space? What's behind it? From the last I told you guys, I will only give you the basics. You go home, make your research, and then come back here and tell me why. You still don't know why?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so the reason why that is like that is because of the justify content space between. Whenever you say justify content space between, and then define an height for your container, what your container does is the space between affects both the width and the height. That's both the top and bottom. So if I remove the justify content space between, and then I remove the height.
Oh.
So if I leave justify content space between and then I remove the height.
Okay, that means the justify content is affecting space between the rows and as well the column.
And the column, exactly.
Okay.
So if you specify the height, justify content is going to try and make everything take up the full height of your screen. Okay. That's why it's like this. So now you failed my question. And you're delaying today -1.
Sir?
You missed my question now.
I answered now.
You could not tell me why. Kofo, did you tell me why?
I'm not
Not
the
at all.
I don't tell her something. Did you tell me why? I did tell her something.
No, he did not.
He did not exactly. So I'll just let you go now. But that's the new law now. If I ask you a question, you cannot answer it. You're receiving -1. Jean finally ran away from the next. She ran away. She'll come back next class. Okay, So moving on, let's just leave the space like this. So now we have 33% and then it is flexing like this. So now that's 600 pixels. But if I take it low now, this is below 500 pixels. I don't want it to be like this. Instead, I want it to be 2 on a row. So here is my Boluwatife. Boluwatife. Boluwatife here. Oh, another person escaped. Nice. Aisha Toshin. Unmute your mic, please. Aisha Toshin. Is she here? Come on, you guys, make this class fun. Let us have this interactive class. Aisha Toshin. Okay. From next class, new law. If I call your name and then you are muted, you cannot answer me, automatic -1. If I call your name 3 times and you do not answer, -1. If you miss my question, -1. If you answer another person's question, you put that person's cross and answer 3 questions in a row. Send it like that. Winifred, is she here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's going to. So now, Winifred.
Oh, good. I don't know anything these places. I'm still trying to find my way around this because the last class, I was no way mess.
Okay, you called my name.
Welcome back.
In the
Is
last
that
class,
Jayan?
I was not available in the last class actually. So
Aisha Toshin.
yes, I'm listening.
Oh, yeah. Last class, we were serving punishment. Yeah, we were serving punishment last class. Okay, I'll just let you off the hook. Jehan.
Sir?
Better. So now, Jehan, you followed everything up to this point, Abby.
What did you say?
You followed everything up to this point.
Yeah, I think so.
There's no thinking here. It's either you did or you did not.
I did. Okay.
Exactly, you did. So now, I want there to be just 2 boxes. When I go below 500, pixels.
Okay.
So Jehan, what code am I going to write?
What did you say?
I want there to be just 2 boxes when I go below 500 pixels. So what code am I going to write?
Wait, sorry, the child element which should be, I think, 50%, or is that what you're saying? I don't understand what you're saying.
Yes, I want something like that, but then I want it to only happen when I go below 500 pixels.
I'm done lost.
Don't lost. It's okay. You guys don't explain it like this. Next person, Treasure.
Yeah?
Exactly. So what am I going to do, Treasure? You heard the question.
No, can you repeat yourself?
At below 500 pixels, I want the child container to have a width of 45%. What am I going to write?
You want the child container to have
a width. I want the child container to have a width of 45%. How am I going to write it? At below 500 pixels.
Can't you just write 45 px?
No, that's totally wrong. Who wants to help out? Okay, Kofo, go on.
So I'm not so sure, but I think you have to call another media query that says at media screen and minimum width of 500 pixels.
Is that correct? I don't tell her something.
Hey, I said I'm not sure. Then you will not do dot mother dot child. Width will not be 50. No, we can't use 50%. We can use 50% since we want it to be 2 box. That makes it 100.
I want there to be space between them.
Okay, that means we can use, instead of using 50, we can use 45. 45%. I don't know. Nobody should minus my mark. Oh, I'm just saying what I
We
think
start
I got.
minusing mark from next week.
Okay. Well, I think from what I got,
We
from
start
what you
minusing mark
said,
from tomorrow. Okay, so this is what Kufo said is the answer. And then if I check, it is not the answer.
voila.
Kufo, look at what your answer did. At 671 pixels, I'm having it in two lines. Can someone tell me the error? Someone was just in a present here. Kabiru. I saw that. Yeah. Kabiru. Yeah, what's
Yes,
the error?
it should be max. It should be maximum width.
It should be maximum width because I said the minimum width is for above, maximum width is for below.
Thank you.
Maximum width of 500 pixels.
Okay,
If I go
makes
back
more
to 600, you can see the way it's scaling. Once I get to 600, it drops. Once I go below 500, it drops to 4. So now, at below 400, I want it to be in 1. Who's going to help me out? Jean. Jean. Oh, I called her name and then she left the meeting. It's okay, she'll come back and meet me. Jean. Tomorrow is 5. Okay, since Jean is not available. Kudos Bankole. Are you still here? Kudos Bankole. Is Kudos Bankole here? Okay, I think that that's a no. Treasure. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
We can
We can hear you.
Why is everybody not talking? Because it's a question
Yeah, we
and
can
answer
hear
now.
you.
Everybody has vanished. It's okay. Yeah. So if I want it to be 1, I'd say at media screen, and max width of what? 400 pixels. So at below 400, no, let's say 420 pixels. Yep. I want the width of my box to be how to call it? The mother, the child, or 100%. Then if I check now, yeah, it's all covering. So now to add little spacing between them, let me say a margin bottom of 20 pixels. So you can see that, okay, yeah, there's a space between them. And then, yeah, well, now this is overflowing. That's because the total height of my box is more than the height of the mother container. That's why it's overflowing. So to fix that, I'll come back here and say, okay, my dot mother, instead of the height of 100 VH, now say height content. That means the height should fit the content that's inside. And now if I check, even to the bottom, you can see the background. Show you. Do you guys understand?
Somehow.
Somehow. Media query is not that tough. Media query is very easy, very sweet. With media query, you get to see responsiveness, different scaling. So that if I start increasing, see, so for different sizes. So this way, now, if I have this kind of thing I'm running on my laptop and then my mobile phone, see everything scaling well.
Yeah.
Now, media query is not only for width. No. Media query is also for for font sizes, media queries. You can use media query for basically anything. If the font size is too big on mobile screen, you use media query to reduce it. So let's say we add H1 inside H1 or H4, and inside my child, I say, okay, how big? But mother, child, that is H1. I say font size of 50 pixels. If you look at it here now, it's big, it looks fine. But now if you check underneath the media query, it's breaking to the next line. You don't want it to break. You can say, okay, since I don't want it to break at below 400 pixels, I want it to be smaller. So basically what you just do now is underneath your 420 pixels, dot mother, dot child, H1, font size, 30 pixels. Okay, can you see now it's smaller? And as you start increasing it, gets bigger. So media query works for anything from font size to weight to margin, padding. If you have too much space anywhere, you can change it. In fact, you can even change this is a display of flex and everything. You can change it with inside media query. You can say, okay, at 420 pixels, what can I do? What can I do? I can say, okay, I want my flex direction, and then I don't want it to wrap. So flex wrap, no wrap. You check that out. You see everything choked up inside one part. But then once I go above 420, comes back. So media query is just sweet, just easy, no stress. All you just have to do is just target what you want to change. You go to the viewports that you want to change it from, and then just change it there. So media query is not restricted to just main width alone. Okay, let's now say at media. No, sorry, it's not restricted to max width alone. I say for min width, for a minimum width of 700 pixel, I want to change my dot mother dot child. I want to change the background from orange, change the background color to just a confine color. Okay, okay. So if you check this out now, it's still the orange color, but then once you go above 700, you see the color changed. So you can do a lot of other things with media query. Okay, Solomon, please go on.
Why didn't you use max with 700 pixel?
Max, that's because if I say max width, this background is only going to change when the width is below 700 pixels. I use min width because I want it to change when the width is above 700 pixels. So if you check now, you see, once I go below 700 pixels, I have my orange color. Once I go above, so even on my normal laptop screen, I have this. Once I minimize and then I reduce it, you have orange. So you can say,
okay.
So now, show you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear more. Jehan. Okay, Lawa Jibola, please go on.
Yeah, what I found out 700 pixels.
Okay, so I said at media screen and main bits. of 700 pixels. This means that when my width is above 700 pixels, I want these things to happen. That's why it's main width 700 pixels. These ones, they have max width. That means once my width is below 420 pixels, this thing should happen. So max width means, okay, the highest width should be 420. So from 0 to 420, this thing should happen. But mean width means a minimum of 700 pixels. So from 700 and above, 700 to 1 million, 1 billion, I want this to happen. You get, wow.
Yes, I understand, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Winifred, please go on. Winifred.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, clearly.
I'm confused. Like, how do you know when to use pixel, RAM, percentage, all those units? How do you know when to use them?
Yeah, like I said before, it's based on the developer's intuition. It depends on you. What you feel is best. Just use it. All of them, they are all measuring. They're all measuring units, and so you can use any one of them that you want. But now, like I said before, when it comes to my container width, I always love to use percentage, because with percentage, it's always very easy for you to scale, always very easy for you to calculate, and then you know for sure that on different screen sizes, this is how we should look like. Because now, like I said, like I did over there, I said a width of 30% or 33% when I get to that particular, that's below 600, I guess. Below say 33%. So I know that add people that are below the 600. If I try 520 now, it will still be 30%. I know that okay, it's not going to overscale or overflow. But I can add something like 300 pixels. What if the total size of the screen now is 600 pixels and there isn't 300 pixels? Once it gets to below 600 pixels, 300, 300, 300, you have 900. Everything here is going to scale. So now the best way now to now control it and make sure that without you changing the width every time, you can just use percentage. Okay, Solomon, please go on.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Solomon.
No, it's missed by mistake. By mistake.
Okay. Kofo.
So my question is, when do you know how to use your like now I understand how to use my max width and mean width, but when this dimension responsive, when do you know okay, scaling from this part to this part? Do you get?
Okay, so most
like
of the time, yeah, I get. So when you are, I would say, when you see design, some developers, the ones that are good at, they will give you a web design and then a mobile design. But then the ones that also are good at, but they don't like stress, designers like me, I don't like stress. So if I'm going to be designing for you, I'll just give you the web design. It's now up to you to convert it to mobile form. So okay. Let me show you a particular design that I'm not meant to show anybody. So now this design is for work, my working place. It's a new feature that we are building, and then it's not yet out for market view. But then you can see what this designer dropped for me to build is just the mobile view. But now if I build something like this and then I put it on your mobile phone, trust me, you are not going to see anything because it's going to spill over. Don't arrange well. So now how can I now build this thing to make sure that okay, on a mobile phone it's going to look good? I have to use media query. So that's when I say the developer intuition comes in. When I look at this and I know deep down that okay, on any mobile phone, you can't view this thing. I have to now start using media query and my own idea to scale it. So let me see. I think I have. Let me check my test hosting site. Actually, I've hosted the part built already. That was the wallet part. And yeah, so now I already built the front end now. If I just leave it like this for a normal user, you can't see it well like I explained. But now look at what I got out of it. So now this is your mobile screen now. You see how it looks now? Responsive. It's not spilling over. That's because you have to now use your own intuition as a developer. When is this going to look nice? See, if I start scaling, as I start scaling everything, they start arranging each other. See? So now it's just up to you as a developer to now look at it that, okay, as a front-end developer, everything must look nice, everything must look arranged, nothing must spill over. It is very, very important for you. I'll say that's like the most important thing for you to learn as a front-end developer, responsive design. Because if you look at most job descriptions out there, is I want a developer that is quite effective with HTML, CSS, Java, that can do this, that can do that, and most importantly, build responsive design. That means if they give you something like this, you should be able to turn something like this to something like this without you even seeing the mobile screen. So, Kofo, do you understand?
Somehow, but I still have one more question.
Shoot,
So that
please.
means it's not every design you make, okay, like you wrap it down. There's some that you just have to like reduce the text to just fit in the fit in the mobile whatever.
View. That's I told you. I said media query responsiveness is not just about wrapping down. As I say, I used this font size as an example. Like if I use the font size, the background color is changing and everything. So it's not just about wrapping. You can change spacing, because if you look at this guys now, there's basically no space. The only space here is between this container and then this container. That's the only space. But now if I reduce it now, because this guy and this guy, they're going to like be joined together, even though they're in the same container. I have to add space in between them. I use media query to add this spacing. But you can see the normal space between this container and this container, like it was before, it's still there. This space, you see, it's still here. For now, there's no space in between. So instead, the only space here before is between these two guys at the top, which is also still there. No space in between the two of them before. But now, after wrapping it down, they are going to be on top of each other. It won't be nice at all. Because if I inspect this now, you see it here. Look at media query here. At max width, I don't know if there's a way I can zoom this. At max width of 800 pixels, I added a margin bottom of 30 pixels. Give it a width of 100% because like this, it's a width of 50%. Okay, width of 40%, as you can see. But now, once I now scale it, at max width of 800 pixels, I have a width of 100%. And then this top guy has a margin bottom of 30 pixels. So, Kufo, do you understand?
Yes, I understand, but I have one last question, but that will be like after the class.
After the class, no problem. Okay, I see Gian has a lot of questions after escaping prison break. The background picture, is it because it exceeded 700 pixels? Yes, I asked the background this boxing. I asked the box background image to change immediately they exceed 700 pixels, and that's actually changing. So if I go below 700 pixels, you see it goes back to orange, and then if I go above 700 pixels, I used main width instead of max width. That's how the color changes. Yeah, I don't understand the compressor and expanding it. And when will we know when to expand or compress? Okay, like I said, it is the developer's intuition. As a developer, you should have eye for design. Once you see it that this thing is not looking nice as you're reducing it, you know, okay, it should compress. But once you see that, okay, this thing is going to be okay, if I expand it, then we should expand. Solomon, go on.
Is media screen the only selector for media query?
I would say no. You can
That
use
at media screen.
at media. Oh yes, of course. It's the only way. The only way you call media queries at
Okay.
media screen. You can't call it any other way.
Oh.
Like you hear the name media query. So media at media. Okay, so what are you calling? What are you changing for the media? It's the screen I'm changing. So that screen
Okay.
sizes. You get.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Is Jian still on this call? Jian, have I answered the question?
Yeah.
Any other person have questions? Okay, I think let me even show you guys for table. Over here. Yeah. As you can see, this table now, everything is looking okay for this table. But then if you scale, the table is like too wide for it to show on mobile phones. So instead, what's that? There's an overflow that allows you to scroll. But then this scroll doesn't show once the table is stretched out enough. So you see, there are like 1,001 things they can do with media query. In fact, some people there are people that build mobile first. So there are some developers that they love to build their websites first as mobile. Then from mobile, they now start scaling it to desktop. So this set of people, there are people that use that main width the most, not max width. So for them, it is not compressed, it is expand. So they just start expanding every component. Imagine if I build this thing for mobile phone first, then I'd say, okay, once it is above 550 pixels, I want this thing to expand to this. I want it is above 700 pixels, expand to this. So that is mean width. So there are some people that specialize in doing that kind of thing, but not me, sha. Because I don't like stress. What I do is I prefer to just build my desktop first, and then I compress to mobile. It works in that way. Either you go mobile first or you go desktop first. Nobody's going to cut your head with the sun. Show you.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Kofo, you said you wanted to ask one last question.
Yes, now it is two. Which one
Okay.
is better? Do you start from like which one do you think is better? Starting from mobile design or the normal
Desktop
um
design.
desktop design? Yes. Which
That's why I
is
said it
better?
depends. One, it depends on the designer first. Because you can't tell me if someone gives me this kind of design, I'll start with mobile first. Where am I seeing the mobile from?
Okay, that's true.
From this design alone, there is no mobile. But then
Wow.
I think I should have one project I worked on. Just give me a minute. Let me find it. No, that's the mobile. That's the kind of project now. That's the Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So now if you look at this particular project, the designer did two different types of design. He did mobile first. He designed it mobile first. Then he designed it for desktop. So just to let this desktop load. So he designed for web and then designed for mobile. So in this kind of scenario now, it's now up to you as a developer to choose, okay, would I do mobile and then scale? Because if you look at it, the mobile and the desktop, they are both one and the same. They are both the same thing. So now it's now up to you that, okay, would I do mobile first or would I do desktop first? Me, to be very honest, since the first time they gave me this file and then started working on the project, I have never looked at this mobile screen because I'm not the mobile first person. Instead, what I do is I just started with the web, and then from the web I started compressing it down to the mobile. Since both of them they are the same, and then I have the exact same representation, just that less stress on my own part. Since I know, okay, I won't be looking at mobile because to me, building mobile first is really epic. Trying to like expand and expand. Instead, why not just compress? Like you can see from this one now, we started like this, and I just started compressing. No stress. So Popo, first question answered.
Okay, the second is about what the stuff. When I was asking you yesterday, but you were busy. So I started to ask you about
Oh,
it. That's the second question.
I won't lie to you. Yesterday was very, very crazy for me. It was just jumping from one meeting to another till around 1 a.m. Quite crazy too. I'm going to scroll and find the question. Okay. Yeah, you said the gap is too much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when I try to add like margin to it, it keeps expanding. I also checked internet at also there's something like gap pro, gap pro. I tried to use it
You
too, but
don't
it
have
wasn't
to.
working.
You don't have to do that. So now you said the gap is too much for, is it this the or for everything?
For just for like let me where is it again? The bottom
The
three.
three boxes. The three boxes. Okay. Do
Yeah.
you know why the gap is too
The
much?
one
You use display flex, justify content, space between happy.
yes, yes.
Did you specify a uniform width for each of the container?
Uniform for each of the container. I did. I'm coming up.
Is it like
I'm checking.
30%? Did you use percent or did you use pixels?
I'm coming. Sorry, I want to check. You can answer somebody else's question while I'm checking.
Okay. Does any other person have question? Solomon.
I didn't drop my hand. That's it. I have a question.
Oh, okay. Jayan, yes, I am into UI UX, but then I don't design that much like before. I'd say I'm more of a coding person now. But then I used to design. Okay, not really used. If I say I used to, that means I don't design anymore. I still design, because I'm even working on one design now. So I still design, but then it depends on the person I'm working for. Yes, I do. Yeah.
Sorry, can I close that terminal something and it won't affect what I was doing before?
No, it won't. You can just close it and then you can use control backtick to bring it up back.
Control back.
Control backtick. The backtick is that sign. This sign
I'm coming. Let me
is
come
backtick.
back.
It is on top of your tab, left,
Okay.
right to your number one key. Yeah. So this is a design that I am working on. think my most recent design. So yep, I design, but then it depends on who I'm working for. I want to ask, how does web developer know what project to do or how the website should look like? Yeah, that's how they are designers, Winifred. You have to get a designer if you can't design yourself. Like me now for my project, I rarely get designers because I design myself. So whenever you give me a project scope, you tell me, okay, so I run a business, I sell gas, and then I want to build an app to allow my people to fuel gas freely. Or okay, I run a business, I sell clothes, I sell shoes. I want people to be able to purchase shoes and bag easily. I take this idea and then I convert it to a design. Then I show you that okay, this is how it is going to be represented. And then if you're cool with it, I'll get the developer that'll develop it. Like me now, I build front end myself. Okay, Kofo, please go on. Kofo. Sorry. Yeah. So Winifred, I build front end, I do front end, and I also design. So it depends on the project. But I rarely take up.
Yeah, I can't hear him too.
Yeah, so sorry. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so Winnipeg, like I was saying, if I won't be the one to develop it, I won't be the one to design it. See, Diane, your battery has not bled enough. You have not seen anything. You have 0% to do. So Winnipeg, I've answered the question.
Yes, yes, yes.
Can you get the website running on the internet without a backend developer? Of course. 101%, of course. Well, now the only problem there now is if you want your site to interact with the database, you are going to need a backend developer. Like this site that will be cloning. Yeah, this site now, zero backend. Everything here is just purely front end. From the different number of pages, everything is purely front end. But now, what if, let's say, at the end now, I have this part that collects user email. I can't make this thing active without a backend developer, but I'll need a backend developer to like send the data to. The let's say the contact part. If I want people to leave a comment, front end we can't undo this. Since they don't read it, we still need a backend developer to receive all this data. So now imagine if you now have something like let's say you now have something like Jumia, eBay, and the rest, where you have to like create products. You need a backend developer to create endpoints for you to create product and fetch products. So these are things that you can't undo on the front end. So if you are building more like an, let's say, just an introductory site for a company like this one now, where okay, there's no much thing, you're just about the company, what the company offer. Even this block part, so even make this, if I want to make this block part active, because this is just front end template. If I want to make it active, I'm going to need a backend developer to create endpoints for me to create individual um, posts. And I'm still going to need a front-end developer to add tags, a back-end developer, sorry, to add tags to individual blog posts for me to fetch them. So UI UX designer, front-end developer, back-end developer, we all work in the same ecosystem. We need each other to survive. But then out of everything, if you are a front-end developer that can design, then you can take up jobs without a back-end developer. Just that it will be stressful for you because you have to think of design and then you have to think of implementation. So if you want to make it easier for you, you can just outsource the design to someone that can design. Then you just get the designs and then you work on it. So Solomon, I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thanks.
Kofo wants to ask me one last question. Oh, we're even talking about our last question. Is Kofo still here?
Yes, I'm waiting for you now.
Okay.
So
Kofo, please go
what I,
on.
what I did was I gave the bottom part a width of 100%, then height of 50 view. Is it view height? Yes. But I use
Viewport.
justify content as viewport as a hand. I use justify content as space between. So
Okay.
the child box, because I gave it first box, second box, I gave them 30% each. Then the height
Okay.
was 30 viewpoint. Then I used the align self to do flex start, center, and flex end to make it like it's coming downward.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? But now,
So
if
now
you
the spacing you are talking about, is it the height spacing, the spacing at the top, or the spacing between them?
the space between the first box, the second box, and the third box, it is much. Like it is too
You can
much.
just
Like I want
turn
it to be smaller.
you can turn your 30% to 32% or 31%.
The the
The percentage
the
for
width
the width for the card. Instead of 30%, you can turn it to like 32%.
for each boxes.
Yeah, for each box. Where you reduce the spacing between them. Then if you want to reduce that height,
I should reduce the height. I should reduce.
if you want to
Sorry.
reduce, if you feel the height is like too much, that's spacing. Because I can look at the implementation and then the implementation and the design. That spacing is too much. You can just use
Sorry.
margin.
You are.
Okay.
I'm lost. You're just talking like you're
Okay.
talking to a professional.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
What?
So now to reduce the
Okay. As you're saying, let me try and do.
space between
Okay.
them, increase it from 30% that you gave each box, increase it to like 32% or 31%.
Okay, hold on because anytime I do something on it, I don't know why everything will just scatter.
That's because it all scatters if you don't structure well.
Yes,
Structure
it
well,
is.
everything will go to scatter.
It has reduced, but there's still one more thing. One more.
Okay.
It is okay. The first box is normal, the second box is normal, but the height, the difference between the height from the first box and the second box is too much.
That's just it. Remove it. You said you used the what do you use against the flex end, Abby?
What do you say?
What do you use to reduce it?
To reduce it, I didn't reduce.
What do you use to add? What do you use to add to this thing?
Is it the justify content space between?
What did you use to add the height between each one of them? Like, how did you bring them down?
Okay, I use flex start, center, and flex end.
Exactly. Remove that, and then
But,
use margin.
okay.
Margin on the second one, you can just say margin top of 20 pixels or 20% or 20 pixels. Yes. Then margin top of the second one to 40 pixels.
Okay, but
So
when I
that's
did that
sorry, the second
before,
and the third. If you do that,
I'll
you can
try
go
it
to
again
the
because I
spacing.
see that it was just like it was all everything just went down. Then all the margin that I put before was just interacting with each other.
No, if you do it that way, everything should work. But this
Right.
class has entered 3 hours and 16 minutes. More than
I guess I'll
let
be
us
answering
close
the rest of
second.
my questions later.
Eh?
I'll have the
Yeah,
rest of
no
my questions
problem.
later. Thank you.
No problem. So thank you guys for joining my boring class. It's always very nice to see people that will come and that will sit down for hours listening to me talk and say gibberish. So I'm so grateful. For all of you that did not join the last town hall meeting, I have all of you on my radar. The next assignment, I'm subtracting 5. You do something very nice. I'll come up with one thing and say that it's not nice. I have my eyes on all of you. And for all of you that joined,
That time. No. Má ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ o. No. I no agree o.
just the word.
I no agree
Just the
o.
word. And to all of
I
you
no
that, to all of you that joined, you all are the real MVP. From Coco that talked to Jehan to Solomon.
It's not fair. Do you know about my grandmother in your
Adejola Samson? I know I saw Adejola Samson there.
don't do that too.
I know your grandmother. I know your grandmother is not there. Yeah. What did you attend? Oh yes, I did. Everybody that attended, I gave all of them 2 months.
I'm protesting.
Yeah, I saw you. Everybody that attended, I gave all of them 2 months.
I was
After
there.
the meeting, who is that? Winifred. You were here.
I was there.
Okay, yeah, Winifred, you were there. Yeah, you were there. You were here. I know. I saw. Who is this? Sani Oluwatobi Omobolanle. She was there, Sha. Don't know. She never hear her talk. Then Kofo, you one day, and I saw you one day. So all of you that joined, shout out to all of you. Why is Jan laughing now? I come to hide.
we are the real MVP.
You guys are the real MVP.
It's not
Those that
me
did not
too.
join. I know.
It's not me too. That's good.
Who are you?
Please
again?
don't give Coco 5 marks for joining and relating with the ESCOs.
Why?
Which
Funny
one?
how the top 3.
Why?
3,
The
just
top
because
3, all of them they joined.
at least she voiced out.
Because she voiced that, she still just
She
give her 2
represented
marks for
us.
joining
That's
now.
why. Just give her 3. Don't give her 5.
Thank you.
Who did she represent? She represented. She didn't represent me. Which
No, as in the group now.
I represented you well. I made
Which way? You represented where? How?
By now, you have noticed that. You have noticed that I don't give marks anyhow. I'm very, very stingy with my marks. It's not because I'm a man of my word, because I'm a gentleman, and then I already promised 2 marks. That's why I decided to add that to one. If not, I'll just say, okay, I was playing and then.
Sorry,
I
how
need
we
2 marks.
done with the class? So we can we leave now? Please, so are we done with the class?
Yeah, if you leave now, you collect -2. You guys cannot leave, but I said everybody leave.
But we are done now.
Shame.
I have somewhere to
Yeah, wait,
go.
Yeah, sure.
And
Let me hear you
time is
talk.
going.
Okay,
Time is going. I mean, please.
You have to buy.
Who is selling something?
Service.
And please don't forget the 2 marks.
And what
Forget
again?
the 2 marks for the attendance. The one we had
Finish.
on Wednesday or so.
Finish. Really? Only this one thing.
Shay, you promised us. You're the one that said you're going to give us 2 marks for the attendance. So please, so I have class by 6 and they've started already.
So
one thing,
please go on.
now. One thing,
Okay, no. All of you can leave. Thank you guys for joining. See you guys tomorrow. Same time tomorrow by 2. See you guys tomorrow by 2.